Welcome everyone to another episode of Total Extreme Wrestling 2020, where I'm booking WWF in 2001, the Invasion era. Before I start the show, I'm going to do things a little bit differently and tell you about the backstage incidents and what happened from them before the show. So, Brian Adams was fined after causing damage to Randy Orton's car. Randy Orton was pleased that I fined Brian Adams for it. Grandmaster Sexay was suspended after getting into an argument with a fan. It had a positive impact, but Grandmaster Sexay now has a simmering tension with Vince McMahon. And Buff Bagwell was given a warning for showing up late. Nothing noteworthy happened from that stern warning. Now that the backstage incidents that happened before the show has been covered, let's cover the actual show after the pre-show and see what happened. In an abysmal pre-show match, Nick Dinsmore defeated Rico Constantino by pinfall with the German suplex. This got 20. In an abysmal pre-show match, Leviathan defeated AJ Styles by pinfall with a sit-out powerbomb. This got an 18. Bruce Pritchard did good work at ringside. Leviathan and Bruce Pritchard have great chemistry. So now it's time for the actual show. In a bout that had good heat and decent wrestling, Taz defeated Dean Malenko by pinfall with the T-bone suplex. This got 61. Rikishi and Haku and the APA are backstage. An argument breaks out. They start brawling and they have to be pulled apart. And this only got 25. So I might can the Rikishi Haku APA storyline, or well, I might tell you now instead of waiting. The Heat rivalries were not really working out. So anything that's not big for Raw or SmackDown, or too small for Raw and SmackDown, I might move those rivalries to Heat. They'll still be. It's still gonna be. It's not. It's just gonna be rivalries that because I'm trying to use the most popular superstars I have on every A show. So the Heat, instead of being for the guys that are classified as unimportant, have like rivalries with each other that really hasn't helped. That's actually done more damage than good when I checked out the biggest rivalry I had. So like the rivalries that I haven't touched, like the Hardy Boys and stuff, with Jindrak and Stasiak, and any other rivalries that have been left because there's only so much time on Raw, and then I want to do the same for SmackDown to keep SmackDown's numbers up. Anything that's just already booked on there, um, so there's no time for more rivalries. Those rivalries that are have the less popular guys will be on Sunday Night Heat. So I might do that with this. I'm not sure. In a decent match, Christian defeated the Godfather by pinfall. This got 57. So the Dudley Boys attacked Canyon and Buff Bagwell backstage, leaving them down now. This only got a 41. In a decent match, China defeated Terry by pinfall with a powerbomb. This got a 54. So Shane McMahon comes to the ring, and two wrestlers are accompanying him. And Shane McMahon goes, "Ladies and gentlemen, if you thought WCW was unpredictable, you ain't seen nothing yet. I've got a little surprise for all of you. Something that's gonna shake the foundation of this entire industry. Introducing from WCW the most destructive force you've ever seen. My newest signing, the team known as Chronic. Brian Adams, Brian Clark, these two giants are here to prove that when it comes to pure power and destruction, nobody does it better. Get ready, because the WWF just got a whole lot more hardcore. Welcome to the big leagues, Chronic." And this got a 41. I don't think I have them ready to turn, but I do want to turn them face. Okay, so I didn't have them set to turn, I guess. William Regal attacks Diamond Dallas Page backstage, leaving him down and out. This got 51. Booker T is standing backstage. Booker T goes, "Hey, Christian, you think you can come around here throwing out threats? You think Booker T is scared of you? Man, you must have forgotten who you're dealing with. I've been in this business too long to be intimidated by some pretty boy with a chip on his shoulder. You better check yourself before you wreck yourself, because when we step into that ring, it's gonna be a whole different story. Can you dig that, sucker?" And this got a 54. Hugh Morris is backstage, and Hugh Morris goes, "Hey, Benoit, what were you thinking, man? Picking Team WWF? You just made the biggest mistake of your career. You should have stuck with us, with WCW. We're the real deal, and we're going to show the world that the WWF is nothing but a bunch of overhyped, overrated wrestlers. You're going to regret that choice, Chris. Mark my words." And this got a 51. In a bout that had good heat and decent wrestling, Chris Benoit defeated Mike Awesome by pinfall with the Dragon Suplex. This got a 67. Backstage, Chris Jericho is standing with a smirk on his face. Kane is in the background, his presence looming. And Chris Jericho goes, "Listen up, all you Jerichoholics out there. We've got a situation brewing here in the WWF, and it's about to boil over. Chuck Palumbo and Sean O'Haire think they can step up to the Ayatollah of Rock and Rolla and the Big Red Machine? They must have a death wish." Then Jericho turns behind him and grins at Kane. Chris Jericho goes, "See, here's how it's going to work. I've got Kane's back, and Kane, he's got mine. We're like two sides of the same coin, except one side is a living nightmare, and the other is just, well, me." Then Kane slowly nods, his mask showing no emotion, but his presence speaking volumes. And Jericho goes, "Palumbo, O'Haire, you boys are in for a rude awakening, because when you step into the ring with us, you're not just facing one of us, you're facing both. And trust me, neither of us likes to share the spotlight, especially when it comes to handing out beatdowns." So Jericho gets closer to this camera, his voice gets lower. Chris Jericho goes, "You want chaos? You want destruction? You've got it. But remember, in this chaos, we're the masters, and in the end, you'll be nothing but a footnote in the Jericho Kane saga. Welcome to the pain, courtesy of the most dominant duo in WWF history." And then the camera zooms out as Jericho laughs maniacally, with Kane continuously behind him, and then the scene fades to black. And this got a 45. I do have to admit, the reason for this, oh, it's Chris Benoit and Kane. It should have been Chris Jericho. I didn't see that. Okay. Well, another thing, what happened is, this is in Canada. The show's in Toronto, Ontario, so that's probably why the numbers are a little bit lower than expected. But I didn't even notice that point, that picture, until just now, honestly. Well, that sometimes happens when you have Chris Benoit and Chris Jericho on your roster. In a bout that had great heat and decent wrestling, the Big Show defeated Steve Blackman by pinfall with a handful of tights. This got a 67. The Undertaker did come out and distract Big Show, but Big Show still got the pinfall. That's why the Undertaker Big Show's rivalry gained heat. Kurt Angle is smiling backstage, and Kurt Angle goes, "Let me tell you something, Triple H. You think you're the game. Well, you're playing checkers while I'm playing Olympic level chess. You see, I'm an Olympic gold medalist. I embody excellence, intensity, and integrity. These things you wouldn't know about if they hit you in the face with a sledgehammer. You stand around here like you own the place, but let's be clear. This isn't the game. This is my wrestling ring, and it's time for some amateur wrestling lessons. You've got your little faction, your little schemes, but what do you have when you strip all that away? A man who's scared to face Kurt Angle one-on-one. I've taken down the best of the business of them from around the world, and you, Hunter, you're just another opponent. But unlike all those others, I'm not here just to beat you. I'm here to humiliate you, to show the world that the so-called King of Kings is nothing more than a pretender to the throne. So come unforgiven, I'm gonna lock you up in the ankle lock. And when you're screaming for mercy, remember the moment. Remember when Kurt Angle told you, you're not the game. I am the gold standard. It's true. It's damn true. Then Kurt Angle walks away from the backstage promo area, and this got a 74. Ladies and gentlemen, we are here with none other than the great one, the people's champion, The Rock. Rock, thank you for taking time to speak with us during this tumultuous time in the WWE. And The Rock goes, "It's my pleasure. Now, let me lay the smackdown on this interview with some electrifying truth." And Michael Cole goes, "Well, the wrestling world has been buzzing since your recent comments regarding Stone Cold Steve Austin. You have accused him of turning his back on the fans. Can you elaborate on what led you to these statements?" And The Rock goes, "Look, it's simple, jabroni. The fans, they live for this. They live for the rattlesnake, for the Texas rattlesnakes fight, for the beer bash, for the stunner. But what have we seen lately? A man who's lost his way, a man who's forgotten who's put him on this pedestal, and the fans." And Michael Cole goes, "But Stone Cold has always been about doing things his way, hasn't he? Isn't this part of his character?" And The Rock goes, "Oh, it's part of his character, all right. But there's a fine line between a rebel and being disrespectful. And the very foundation that made you, the fans. They're not just spectators, they're the heart, the soul of this industry. When you turn your back on them, you're turning your back on what this whole damn thing is about." And Michael Cole goes, "There's talk of a personal rift between you two. Is this more than just a storyline?" And The Rock goes, "Listen, when you've been in the ring with someone, shared moments, blood, sweat, and cheers, there's always going to be a bond. But when that bond is tested, when the line is crossed where the fans are no longer the priority, then it becomes personal." And Michael Cole goes, "So what does the future hold for you and Stone Cold Steve Austin?" And The Rock goes, "The future? The future holds one thing, respect. Either he finds it for the fans, or I'll damn well make him see it. There will be a reckoning, and it won't be pretty. But if he can find that respect, if he can understand that without the fans we're nothing, maybe, just maybe, there's a chance for redemption." And Cole goes, "One last question, Rock. How do you plan to handle this situation?" And The Rock goes, "I plan to do what The Rock does best, electrify. If it means taking Stone Cold to the limit, if it means reminding him of who he is, and more importantly, who he belongs to, the fans, then that's what we'll do. It's showtime, and The Rock is ready to lay the smackdown on this issue once and for all." And Michael Cole goes, "Thank you, Rock, for this candid insight. We can't wait to see how this unfolds." And this got a 78. So even in Canada, an interview with The Rock did well. Then, in a bout that had great heat and good wrestling, the two-man power trip defeated Grandmaster Sexay and Scotty 2 Hotty when Steve Austin pinned Grandmaster Sexay with the Luthez press. In terms of in-ring work, Steve Austin was head and shoulders above everyone else, and this got 71. Steve Austin shined in this match. So what was the final grade for the show? 71. Lost popularity like in 5, but gained popularity in 2. I wonder if that's just, I guess that's just in Canada alone. Not sure. So before we end this episode, I'm going to see if there's any emails. You had a Too Cool tag team match that got a 71 in Canada. So Raw got a 1.87. Drug test fees. And Johnny Ace has returned from suspension. So I hope you enjoyed this. Subscribe if you did. The next time I want to show, it will be Sunday Night Heat for for the second week of September in 2001. Until then, peace out, everyone.